You're 25 years old, and you just inherited $1 million. Here's the part nobody warns you about. That exact same million can leave you broke in 3 years, or turn into $45 million by the time you retire. Same money, same person, wildly different endings. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which path most people take and how to take the other one. $1 million feels like the finish line, like you've won. And that feeling is exactly the trap. Because $1 million isn't rich forever money. It's one good decision away from rich, or one bad year away from broke money. What you do in the first 90 days decides almost everything. Most people who come into sudden money treat it like a prize. The few who get wealthy treat it like a seed. This video is the difference between those two mindsets, laid out in real numbers, so you can see exactly where the money goes either way. Let's start with the way it usually ends. The sad way. Here's how $1 million evaporates, and it's faster than you'd think. It rarely vanishes in one big dramatic purchase. It leaks. A nicer car, there goes $60,000. Upgrading your lifestyle, the apartment, the clothes, the trips, call it another $80,000 in year one. Lending money to family and friends who just need a little help, $100,000, gone, mostly never repaid. A business idea you didn't really research, $150,000. And taxes on any of it you didn't plan for, a brutal surprise. None of those felt reckless in the moment. Each one felt reasonable. That's the danger. Sudden wealth doesn't get destroyed by stupidity. It gets destroyed by 100 reasonable-sounding yes in a row. And the numbers back this up. According to the CFP board, roughly 1/3 of lottery winners eventually declare bankruptcy. One study found nearly half of windfall recipients hit serious financial trouble within 18 months. Not because they were dumb, because nobody taught them what to do when a finish line turns out to be a starting line. Now here's the other ending. And it's almost boring how simple it is. You're 25. You take that $1 million and you do one radical thing. You leave it alone. You put it in a broad, low-cost index fund and you don't touch it. At the stock market's long-term historical average of about 10% a year, here's what happens while you basically do nothing. By age 35, it's about $2.6 million. By 45, about $6.7 million. By 55, about $17 million. By 65, about $45 million. $45 million. From one decision at 25, and then 4 decades of patience. You didn't pick a hot stock. You didn't start a company. You let compounding, the most powerful force in finance, do the heavy lifting. That's the brutal, beautiful truth. The blow-it path takes constant effort. The $45 million path mostly takes self-control. Doing nothing, on purpose, is the hardest and most profitable skill in money. So if the math is that clear, why does almost nobody do it? Because we're not wired for it. First, there's lifestyle creep. The moment your income or net worth jumps, your idea of normal jumps with it. The car, the apartment, the dinners, they stop feeling like luxuries and start feeling like baseline. And lifestyle creep is a one-way door. It's very hard to walk back. Second, there's social pressure. Once people know you have money, the requests start. Saying no to family feels cruel. But every yes is a withdrawal from your future, and no is a complete sentence you'll have to learn fast. Third, and this is the big one, there's the illusion of enough. $1 million feels infinite, so the brain stops doing math. You don't budget a number that feels endless. By the time it feels finite again, half of it's already gone. The people who keep their money aren't smarter. They just refuse to let a big number turn off their judgment. Here's a number that reframes everything. Financial planners use something called the 4% rule, a rough guide for how much you can pull from a portfolio each year without running out. On $1 million, 4% is $40,000 a year. That's it. $1 million, managed carefully, replaces roughly a $40,000 salary. Comfortable, but not private jet money. That gap between what a million feels like and what it actually pays is exactly where people get into trouble. They spend like it's $40 million when it generates like it's $40,000. But flip it around. If you don't spend it, if you let that same million compound for 40 years, you're not living on $40,000. You're building $45 million. The 4% rule shows you what a million is worth if you lean on it today. Compounding shows you what it's worth if you can leave it alone. Same million. The only variable is your patience. There are two dangers with sudden money that blindside almost everyone, and both can gut $1 million before you even feel rich. The first is taxes. Depending on where the money comes from, a chunk of it may not even be yours. Inherited retirement accounts, for example, can come with rules that force you to withdraw and pay income tax on a timeline you didn't choose. People mentally spend the full million, then get a brutal surprise from the IRS the following spring. The rule is simple. Until you know the exact tax owed, treat a big slice of any windfall as not yours to spend. Set it aside first, celebrate second. The second danger is people. The moment word gets out that you have money, you become a target, and not always from strangers. The amazing investment opportunity from a friend. The relative with a can't-miss business. The advisor who earns a fat commission steering you into products you don't need. Sudden money attracts sales pitches the way a porch light attracts moths. Most aren't outright scams. They're just bad deals dressed up as favors, and saying yes to a few of them is exactly how $1 million quietly becomes nothing. This is why the boring 90-day rule is so powerful. While the money sits untouched, every pitch and every guilt trip simply has to wait. Time is your filter. The genuinely good opportunities will still be there in 3 months. The pressure-filled ones, the ones that need an answer right now, almost never survive 90 days of daylight. Slowness isn't indecision here. It's armor. So what would you actually do? Okay, say it happens. $1 million lands in your lap at 25. Here's the playbook the wealthy actually use. Move 1. Do nothing for 90 days. Park it in a high-yield savings account or money market and don't make a single big decision for 3 months. This one rule alone kills most of the blow-it path. The urge to act fast is the enemy. Move 2. Pay the boring stuff first. Wipe out high-interest debt, set aside the taxes, and build an emergency fund. Unsexy, but it's the foundation everything else stands on. Move 3. Invest the bulk and let it compound. The majority goes into broad, low-cost index funds, and then you leave it alone, exactly like the $45 million math showed. Automate it so you're not tempted to tinker. Move 4. Give yourself a small, guilt-free fund slice. Carve out maybe 5%, 50 grand, to actually enjoy. That release valve is what keeps you from blowing the other 95%. You're allowed to enjoy it. You're just not allowed to torch it. $1 million at 25 isn't a finish line. It's the rarest head start most people will ever get, and now you know how to not waste it. So let's bring it home. $1 million at 25 can become $0 in 3 years through 100 reasonable-sounding decisions, or $45 million by 65 through one decision and a lot of patience. The blow-it path takes effort. The rich path takes restraint. Do nothing for 90 days. Clear the debt and taxes. Invest the bulk and leave it alone. Keep a small slice for fun. That's the whole game. Now I want to hear from you. If $1 million hit your account tomorrow, what's the very first thing you do with it? Be honest in the comments. I read every single one. If this changed how you think about sudden money, hit like, subscribe for a new What If breakdown every week, and share it with someone who dreams about hitting it big. I'll see you in the next one.